You're here.
It's happened. Are we in person?
What's that? We are in person.
Interesting. I somehow got my wires crossed and thought we were on Zoom. I will be late to the meeting.
Okay, we will keep the door open for you.
Okay.
That's really funny that you just appeared there. We'll see you shortly.
Yeah,
I felt kind of bad for
It's a long way.
the DHS.
long take.
Thing.
No,
Like, I was like, I almost
there
don't
are
want to eat in
other states that
solidarity,
are
but, like,
worse.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's like
Yeah, I
in
just
some
never had
cases.
driven that. We were like going from, like we go to one
that was a fun
Pueblo,
event.
and then we had an
interesting
appointment the next morning at another one that was 6 hours away.
It's
Right, so
what's
we'd have
fun
to
is
drive to
like
that
to
one,
watch
then
him
we'd
start
have
to
another one
like,
and drive 4 hours.
like
and
feel
Mhm.
comfortable.
It was
with
just
us.
really
As soon as he drops the
Spread out
mystery, I know,
geographically.
man,
very
love
spread
that.
out.
This is
But it
great.
was so fun. I mean,
Nice,
just
yeah.
Really,
He's
really.
taking hold of the
No, what kind
amazing
of
experience.
things were you doing on the
Really good
Pueblos?
about that.
So we're,
We decided that we're
so
not gonna.
my organization
thinking
is about
about
to
it.
build
We're not gonna get
160,
this
no,
rush sent him up to
266
DC for
new
training. I would much
antennas
rather
all
you guys
across
be
the
able to do it
Southwest.
together, and I want to offer
And
you the
we are
opportunity
probably
as
going
well.
to be butting up
So we're
against
just gonna
reservations in Pueblo.
cross our fingers and
And
try to get this
so we're
customized
really
training
trying to
go
make sure that
through.
we're good neighbors.
I didn't
Yeah.
get a response.
So what kind of
yet, but I'll
antennas?
think
I think
about
if we
it.
all work
Radio
together, it would be
telescopes.
great.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
So
okay.
they're
I won't go
massive.
to
They're
the.
very massive.
Obviously, I won't go to
things.
the 32.
So we're working with
The
some
two of you
indigenous
can.
astronomers
That
who
would
are
make
like
sense for
really
you to do it again.
excited about it,
Mhm.
but also kind of a little nervous about us too.
Mhm.
So we're just
Hello?
building those
I can't
relationships
afford
and
it.
making
It's,
friends.
she's not my our guy. Our person.
Yeah. There's a little bit more space on that
Maybe
side
it's
in case
over
if
here.
you feel cramped.
Or
Not that
hiding.
you
I
have to
think the
boogie.
goal is
Also,
to
there's
have
a space
one
here
more
if you wanna
person
be
on each side.
the visible row.
Visually
Have
balanced
that,
at all.
you know, like
Sure, sure.
visual balance for our
Yeah.
Yeah.
viewers.
Nice.
Yeah, my
Doing well. How are you?
So we were with a friend of mine who
I
is
did.
Maori,
Try not to.
so he's
Open this
indigenous
too much.
himself. And that just opened so many doors, right? It was like,
No.
and so I got
look,
to see a lot of things that I would not have been
Oh,
invited to
sure,
see,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, no,
Really, very
we've
cool.
gone and like visited some
Maybe we put
Pueblos,
one
but
in.
I'm sure it's,
We
you know,
could share
just sort of
this
the visitor
We
experience,
were in
definitely
the
not
back,
the.
right? We were like
Yeah,
going in the
yeah,
back. And
yeah,
so it was pretty magical, actually.
cool.
There's still one there.
Exactly. Pass the
not
mic.
always happen.
Drop the mic. Yeah.
I think Jessica's coming. I've been texting her. I thought she was-
How did I see you? Have I seen? I haven't talked to you since Colombia. How did that go?
I liked the bars.
Kids thing.
Ella liked it. My court has a girlfriend.
is that what reacting to Jessica?
Like the VLA, our telescopes, there's a fire there.
Oh.
A friend of mine who lives in New Mexico said that she just heard there's a fire there.
Not without
I
her.
hadn't heard that. I wonder if my boss is.
Smells it every like 5 minutes. And I don't carry his t-shirt in my bag.
Like Oakland Rare, I do not want to smell them, but.
Isn't that funny? You forget like that like
Or just have you heard
how
from Jessica?
deep those emotions
Those
run.
early ones where you.
She'll use the text me, say, you know, or I can be there, or,
Oh no.
oh
Chips down.
Get a moment. It's so funny. Oh wow.
Anyway, it was, we actually overall did have a good time, but
Oh cool.
it was funny to listen to.
Yeah.
Jessica. So I was
That's
like,
really fun.
And the little ones.
Hey, like we get the whole family.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
right
there's
back.
one red, yeah.
Oh, and there's food out there, by the way. And did you all figured out there's cups for the water, and you found the water cooler, and look at this.
Yeah.
It's working. Resourceful. I would like them to be on camera. but
Mouthful of shepherd.
That's mom's decision. Good evening. You're fun.
Hello?
Hey.
Good to see you.
I like that you brought people.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them
ripping the
since
Band-Aid.
we did outreach together once.
They came by.
Did they come?
Public service.
Where? Oh, that's right. We did do that. That's right. I forgot about that.
Are they gonna
That
have
was a long
public
time
comment?
ago. That was a long time ago.
That would be so great.
It would be kinda cool.
Yeah.
I know. So we
John
did.
has been part of some memorable moments.
Absolutely.
Actually, you know that next year is his store's 50 years anniversary on the mall?
What could we do for that?
50 years, am I right? No, yeah.
I made it.
30.
Some miles.
30.
30, 30, 30.
But I do need a ride
50 years
home.
That would make him
Not
very
bad.
old.
Does anyone live over that way?
But he bought the place.
Really
when
won't be out of your way? Thank you.
Dude's amazing.
Thank you very much.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Which neighborhood do you live in?
Years on the mall.
Rice Spring.
It's pretty
Oh,
cool.
me too.
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
just we'll get him a bottle of wine in July.
Well, either way, if it's out of
That's
your
a-
way, Jessica, I can. Yep, thank you.
Something like that.
I think it is out of your way, cause you're kind of going the.
Thank you for keeping us fed.
I know you
Aw.
would.
I can think about it.
know you would.
Good times.
Because I'm nosy.
Officer night.
Thank you. Where do you live in Parkland?
It's between Pikeville and Price Spring, right across from Johnson Village.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's
Suzanne, I think we got
like
an
on one of
email
those
that
little
she's
side
gonna
streets
be
that
with us
in
in
on Center
July.
Avenue.
Let me
Yes.
check.
Oh,
Right
Right?
off of
that
Is that
West
correct?
Last time we did it.
Very quiet.
Yes.
Yep.
So
It's very nice.
she's nice.
Jeanette, we know, is out. Catherine is on her way.
You know where the. Do we have a good parking?
Yep.
Yeah.
I live on
We
Rice
do.
Spring.
Nice.
We have
we have,
That park.
I do
we have
too.
6.
right?
Yeah.
Good green space.
Yeah, over 5 is a quorum.
okay.
Oh, Jessica, just to let you know, Suzanne is not going to be here, Jeanette's not going to be here, and Catherine is on her way. She showed up on that screen briefly and said, "Whoops," and then
And then got on her
Yeah.
electric bike and.
"I'll be late," she said. So
So you wanna wait, Catherine?
we can.
We can do everything without her as far as voting and stuff. We have a.
You have a quorum. Yeah, that's right. It's up to you. I'm so addicted to 2 screens.
Two screens are so much better than one screen, aren't they?
You want some chips?
It's like,
Some water.
anymore.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
Have you been? Has it? Oh dear, okay. Maybe we can debrief tomorrow or something.
How was your trip?
It was incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I love to see the pictures.
Mm. Um, 12 days.
You were with, I guess with them?
I was with my friend Will from Aotearoa. Yeah, he came over and so we just sort of drove all around. It was really fun.
Yep, we haven't started yet. I don't think we're streaming yet.
What's up? Sure, yeah, whenever you're ready.
All right, we will call our meeting to order at 6:40 PM Eastern. So, roll call,
Here comes the roll call. Jessica,
present.
Ernest,
Present.
we know Jeanette's not here. Mary,
Present.
Wolfgang,
Here.
Catherine is on her way and we'll make note of that. Suzanne is not here. Andy
Here.
and Lindell.
Here.
Let's recite our mission statement.
Act
as a strong advocate to justice and equal opportunity by providing citywide leadership and guidance in the area of civil rights. For members of the public participating virtually, if you are experiencing technical difficulties, you may call 434-970-3115 and staff will assist you. We will open up for public comment, and if you're virtual, you can raise your hand. If you're on the phone, you can press *9.
Chair, we currently have no attendees.
That's a surprise. Okay, so there is no response to the public. We'll jump into approving the annual retreat minutes.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote on that one. Any discussion about that before we do? Okay, sounds good. Jessica,
Approve.
great.
Sorry, I'm thinking about the new Martha's Rules. What was it the same?
Oh yeah, we're still doing the same old thing we've been doing, so if you got
Yeah,
any rules, let me know.
sorry. I'll
Ernest,
get it together.
Approve.
and Jeanette's not here. Mary,
Approve.
Wolfgang,
Approve.
Catherine's not here. Suzanne's not here. Andy,
Yes.
and Lindell.
Approve.
Okay. Passed.
Now we have to approve the ad hoc committee meeting? Or-
Yeah. That's right.
It just says HRC committee meeting.
Mm-hmm. Ready? This is from 4/6/23. Jessica,
Approve.
Ernest,
Approve.
Mary,
Approve.
Wolfgang,
Abstain.
Andy,
Abstain.
and Lindell.
Abstain.
Okay. So you're kind of half and half there, but how do we work that?
Is it
Abstain just
even?
doesn't count.
Yeah, abstain.
Yeah. Okay. We had no no's, so
Right.
we'll
I
consider
can,
them
I can
passed.
live with it if that accounts. Like I wasn't, can you vote on something if you weren't actually here? No?
Good point.
Okay. So-
I don't think so. It probably
Okay.
doesn't make sense. No.
No, it
Okay.
makes sense.
The consensus is it's good. It's
Mark.
good.
Yeah, it was just me, Mary, and Catherine.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Was it?
Ernest came.
Ernest
Yeah.
came later
Came
on.
late.
Okay. Got it. Cool. I guess Catherine can add her votes to either of these when she arrives too.
Comes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If we remember to ask.
I'll try to remember to ask.
I'll try to.
Yeah, I don't have chair updates. I think mainly what I wanted to share was with our ad hoc committee when Catherine comes. So I don't have any updates, but, so Todd, do you have your report you want to go over?
I can. Maybe I'll like to give the floor to Victoria if she has any updates she'd like to share first. Surprise.
I'm not sure if to start in the past or in the future.
Where?
Let's go past.
Yep.
So this past month, actually one thing that I kind of want to start off with, even though it's not, that at the first month of April, our office was helping people apply for the through CRHA for the housing choice voucher waitlist. And so it was a joint effort between our office and that of Home to Hope, where we share a space. But we helped a not small amount. Definitely Home to Hope's team signed up more people, but since we were down one person.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a cool initiative, and I think it made a lot of difference for people being able to access the wait list. And CRHA was a really good partner to us also in many ways, but super specifically for the purposes of our office and letting us get reasonable accommodation forms for people. So we got people who might not otherwise be able to do it without a computer, paper forms, and turning it in. So that was something really cool that took like a month to set up, and I think had a really good payoff. So I think that's the place where I'd like to start, maybe in the past. But at upcoming, we've been talking about the animated video for like a little while here. We are finalizing the script, and it looks like our next step maybe is going to be animating it. So that's, I don't know when that's going to happen, but that's like really exciting news from earlier today that we've got coming up.
We will have we're going to bring in some audio recording gear to capture anyone who wants to reading the script and then mix all the voices together.
Oh, that's cool.
So to have each person maybe different voice reading different sentences. So if that's of interest, we'll just, when we're there during the day, if you have free time and you want to stop by and add your voice to the mix, come by and we'll hit
Let
record.
me know.
Sounds
Yeah.
really fun, yeah.
Give us a
That's my
ring
dream.
first.
That's my dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Voice acting.
I want to be an audible narrator, so this is like
Yes.
almost. This is
So
like,
so give us a call.
yep, you're
You
gonna
might have to
regret
have
this.
might have to have auditions
No?
as well.
Sweet.
This one.
I'm gonna
Right.
have accents. It's gonna be horrible. No, I won't.
Just
do
be
that.
you.
Yeah. Okay.
So can you tell us when versus us just kind of calling you on a random day?
What I think would be good.
I don't work well on that. I need a specific.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
What might be good, because we do have appointments and things kind of scheduled that happen. So maybe if you intend to come, like, shoot us an email or give us a call, and we'll like arrange a time that would be good so that we're free to do it. Does that
What-
make sense?
What we can also do is maybe send out.
So we could send out some times.
Yeah, we can send out
We'll send
sometimes
out
and like
sometimes.
the script that we're gonna be reading off of also,
Yeah.
and like tell people the setup.
But it'll be simple. It'll just be sort of ready to go so that when folks come in, we should just be able to like, boop. We'll do like a GarageBand recording kind of thing. So.
And
Totally fine.
if you can't make this one, I think the goal is to have more in the future.
Mm-hmm.
This one is just kind of the
This is the
most
first one.
the current one, and it's the first one, and it's like a general introduction to our office and the commission. So.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big one. And I think like the last big thing is also an upcoming one, but together with Home to Hope and the Downtown Job Center, again we all share kind of the same space, so we're collaborating on an open house, which we're hoping for the first Friday of June, super tentatively, maybe slightly after that, but that's our big goal, is to like open up our space to the public and to other service providers. For
And you'll be able to send out more details
Yeah.
when you firm up the date, and
absolutely
we'd
yes.
love to have anybody there from the commission.
Mhm. So those are kind of my three big highlights.
Those are three great highlights. Thanks for sharing them.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's neat to see that happening.
But we've got some big ones from the office too.
Yeah, we do have some other big ones. So we have hired an intake and administrative specialist. Yay! Saad Khalifa. Saad Khalifa started on April the 10th, and he's jumped right in and just getting his feet, wet on all the stuff that it's in, that the office is involved in. So he's picking everything up really fast. We're really excited to have him. And it just adds, another dimension to the office, and it's great. So we're excited. What else is going on? I wanted to let you all know, just regarding your upcoming focuses on housing, the three kind of big service providers in our continuum of care. Hey, Catherine, welcome.
I think in order for you to be in this, we have to be here.
Oh, hey, Catherine, we'd invite you over here so you're in the screen if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry. On May 1st, the Haven, Potcham, and I believe, do I have this correct? Anthony Haro from BRAC, the Blue Ridge Area Coalition for the Homeless, they're doing a presentation on the services that they provide to council. So it might be a good time to kind of keep your eyes open on that and just hear what they have to say and see how that informs your work. Obviously, you can always connect with them individually as well. So that's just something I wanted to make sure you're aware of. In addition, June 5th, this is on the report as well, but I want to say it. We are going to be presenting our annual report to council. I think it's in the 4 p.m. window when they do kind of their work session. So anyway, just be prepared for that. I will have the annual report for you to review and adopt for recommendation at the next meeting, what do you call it, regular meeting, so in April. Not April, May. We're in April. So keep that on your radar.
So you're presenting May 1st?
No, I'm not presenting May 1st. That would be the Haven, Potcham, and Brack, and we're presenting June 5th.
June 5th.
Yeah, but I'll have the report for you all to review ahead of your regular meeting, so you can give me any feedback and we can get it off and just get it off the books and approved to present. So, sound good?
Question. Do
Yeah.
you know if the CHRA BRAC presentation is at the 4 p.m. time or the 6:30?
Believe it'll probably be at the 4 p.m. time, but just keep an eye out. If you know how to check agendas and things on the city calendar.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it should pop up there, and you can start to see how it's forming. Other things. So I'm going to send. Remember that piece in the ordinance that we are supposed to provide quarterly updates to council? So this is going to be our first quarterly update that I'm going to send basically a copy of our OHR report to them. But what I want to add, remember how I presented in the retreat kind of the five or six, I can't remember off the top of my head, sections in the ordinance that sort of outline your duties, responsibilities, and roles. What I'd like to do is include that summary for the commission in that report as well, because technically the report is from the commission and what you've been up to. So not this time, but for the next quarter, which I guess would be, help me with the annual math here, but later, June or July, I guess, whenever that is. We'll send another one after the next 3 months, and I'll add that in there. So does that make sense? So that gives you a chance to also then see, and maybe I'll start adding it actually to our monthly reports to you in your meetings, so you can see how things are stacking up and what you might want to do or push on. So hopefully that's helpful as a guide and also for fulfilling that duty in the ordinance. 2 more things I wanted to ask you. Well, we'll just stick to one. Committee meetings. Do you still want to keep them on what do we have them? First Thursdays of the month? Or I think there was some talk at one point of tagging it on to either the beginning or end of this meeting. Just from a logistics standpoint, just wanted to bring that out there if there was any further discussion on that, or if you want to keep it as is and move forward. So, discuss amongst yourselves, let me know. But otherwise, I'll start posting them. I'm going to start posting them well in advance so that Remy has notification.
I haven't heard that one about tacking it on to our regular meeting, but, what are people's thoughts?
Yeah, I had proposed it at the end of our retreat,
Mm-hmm.
since I think we've had fairly low attendance at the subcommittee meetings. And I wanted to make sure that we were conscientious of our use of the space and the requests that we're making of city members. And that a potential solution could be tagging it on at the end when we all gather. It doesn't have to be that, but it was just a suggestion to make some efficient use of our time and their time as well.
So, I thought at our last meeting, we had talked about having, like, basically not doing committees so much, right? And having it, but having a working meeting that was in between, right?
Yes, we did.
And that actually seems like it might be more useful and efficient, that we have that working time.
Catherine, can I ask a clarifying question on that? So when you say, and I think that's an easy way to say, we could talk like council, use council's language to say it's a work session and still publicly noticed and all that stuff. But, did you also mean to say that, like, use the first Thursday time that we're using as a work session, or are you saying tag it on to the end of a regular meeting on the third Thursdays?
I get why tagging it on would be efficient in terms of use of space and frankly, your time. It doesn't then feel like it would be much of a working session, right?
Gotcha.
Because then it would just be a long meeting.
Okay. All right.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just, it sounds like when there's work to be done, the people who will tend to do the work will schedule a time that works for them. And it may not happen on the first Thursday of the month. It may
What-
happen at another time.
No, I think
Or is
No,
am I
I think the
misunderstanding
idea was
that?
it was a standing meeting,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
it isn't like different committees using the time. It's just whatever work needs to get done happens in that standing
Okay.
time. That, I mean, I'm just reporting that is what we discussed doing.
Mary.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I thought that the last meeting was actually really good and productive, and
Yeah.
there were enough people there to make it meaningful, and I may be self-centered, but like, I feel like we've arrived at a time that actually works for me, and so like, I feel like I can, there've been a bunch of them where I meant to show up and I just like couldn't, so, to me, like, the last experience was really positive, and I love the idea of sticking with that for a few months and seeing if it, I mean, if it falls off and nobody can go again, then, you know, but anyway, that's, you know, that's my vote for what it's worth.
That's right, and Suzanne was there too. So yeah, I'm still in favor of the first Thursday of every month at that time.
Great. Thank you for the feedback. That's helpful. And I'm gonna try, as I said, to post some of these things well in advance so that Remy has like plenty of notice and we can just be really efficient about these going forward. So thank you for the feedback. That's helpful.
Can I ask a question though?
Yeah.
Does that feel overly burdensome for your?
Not really, because I think for me, it's about just making sure I develop a system around it. So knowing what to expect is really all I need, and then we just go. So thank you for that. That's a good question.
I have one more thought about it, and then I will let it go. Is there a time that would be helpful for us to say when we can or cannot come? Because if it is going to be a time where we have very low attendance, like, is there a time where we could just like let people know, doesn't work, we cancel the meeting? That way, we're all on the same page.
We'll just, can we just send out an invite first Thursday? And everybody,
Yes and no's,
yeah, put an
I
invite.
like that. How much notice would you need to like cancel something,
It's good to,
given that we have to make an agenda
Canceling.
and stuff?
that's a good question. I don't know.
Okay.
I think that, I don't know. I have to think about that one. Just, I think, with public notice, it has to be 3 days in advance of the meeting. To post a meeting, to cancel a meeting, I don't know. That's a good question. But, yeah. Maybe, how about this? Could you decide at your regular meeting whether you're gonna host your next committee meeting? That would be a perfect time. And then you have the chance to kind of, rather than worry about responding to an email, you could just decide at the regular meeting ahead of the next committee
I would
or work session.
I suggest we.
I don't always know if that works, because a lot of why people don't come is because things are happening actively, like that week, like something came up, an illness, a sickness, the something that you can't predict 2 weeks out.
Yep. I would like to be able to provide Remy 2
No, I
weeks'
underst-
notice, but
no, I
yeah,
understand.
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if something happens to my kids and I can't show up, I'd love to
Totally.
give you as much courtesy as possible, but
Sure.
I-
Yep, and I guess is that what we were saying for the whole group, is that you wouldn't know 2 weeks in advance whether you could make the meeting?
Wendell had something to say.
Yeah, so I think we could do two things. One is, we recognize that people may have last minute, they can't make it, right? But I do think it might be helpful for 2 weeks before, for us to put it on the agenda and say, do we have anything to do on that meeting, and will we call it? And just have an agenda item.
Okay.
So add that we'll add that in the, like, work
Yeah.
session
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Just to ask that question, so we all
Yep.
get into the habit of thinking about it. Yep. And if we know the conflicts, then we can identify them there, and then we know in advance. And if we think, probably do it, and then if somebody has something that
Right.
pulls them away, that's totally understandable. Okay. Thank you. Super helpful.
Todd, would you be able to send us out a calendar invite?
Yeah, that's my next thing, is that I would like to start sending you, now that we're in person, because I used to sort of just rely on the Zoom webinar thing to remind you, but I'm gonna start sending Outlook invites. Does that work for you all? It'll be like an Outlook invite email, like you'll get, and I gotta remember to remove, because I think our city system automatically puts a Teams invite, so that'll be confusing, because then you'll have Teams, a Zoom, and an Outlook. No. You're still gonna get the separate Zoom thing, right, because it's a hybrid meeting. And then you'll get my email, like with the agenda, I guess. Maybe when I send the agenda out, I send the Outlook reminder. No, I'll send the Outlook reminder first. We'll do it that way. I'll figure it out. I'm working this out in my head as I'm speaking. So, yep, but I can send some sort of reminder for you guys. So you can put it on your calendars in advance.
And I know there are some commissioners having a hard time with their email. Is everyone having access to their emails? Or getting the emails?
I think we hopefully we solved those. No, not you?
No, my problem is I keep getting thrown out. I have it set up so that I can change who I am in Chrome.
Yep.
Like I can be me with my Gmail and I can be the city,
Mm-hmm.
and it just keeps throwing me out. The city one just keeps disappearing, and I don't know why that is. And then I
Interesting.
have a hard time logging back in again, so.
Interesting.
I'll
Have
just
you?
work with an IT person.
Yeah, I was
maybe.
gonna say, have you talked to any IT
Not
folks?
yet.
They're usually pretty good
Yeah,
about.
We'll figure out what's going on.
Okay. You know the number to call? To get
I'll
IT.
find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me know if you need it.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I don't have a solution for that
Yeah,
one.
that's a weird
That's a
one.
weird one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had that issue a couple times.
Have you?
It just keeps recognizing the account before,
Mm.
so, yeah. But it's not a Chrome thing, because I use Chrome too, so I'm
Ah.
not sure what.
Okay.
But sometimes it gets caught in this cycle, it keeps wanting to do the same
Yeah,
one.
it won't let me.
Sometimes you have to clear caches
Yeah,
sometimes.
oh, gosh, yeah.
hmm Yeah, it's the only way you can get it to kind of reset itself.
Okay.
Just on a related note,
Mhm.
because you asked that, I think this is a good question, because I know that, like, the transition from our personal emails to our city emails, we knew the reasons why. It was also challenging, right?
Mhm.
Like, then everybody had to, like, get used to this new email system and figure out how to log in. One of the other things, not to put more transitional things in the mix, but it's a possibility. I know that, Wolfgang, I think you experimented a little bit with using Teams for our documents and stuff.
No, Teams, no.
Here's the reason, and then I'll leave it. Catherine, I hear you, and we could talk about this. The only reason is I saw that Mary asked the question, where should I put this document? Should I attach it to an email? Should I drop it in Google Drive? The Google Drive thing is like a black hole for us, because if you're gone and that document only existed on Google Drive, we can't get it anymore, right? If it wasn't shared or whatever, right? So I think that Teams, as you probably are realizing, like, the OneDrive Office 365 Teams platform is sort of the competitor with Google. They're trying to do the same thing. One probably does it better than the other on certain
Yes.
fronts. But Teams is what the city has chosen as their platform. So think on it. We don't have to make that change. No,
Let me just tell you, it doesn't work on my computer.
Mm-mm.
It
Can
just
we just put
doesn't.
it in OneDrive?
Yeah, that's why I don't
Box, we could
understand.
use,
we
like,
still have the old box thing. That didn't seem to get super much traffic. We could still use it. What I like,
That's the same problem is, I mean, because we deal with this at work too.
you
right?
do this, boots you out.
No, that we have to use Teams even though it makes us all cry. The reason that you're giving
Yeah, it's hard.
is that Box is attached to a person,
Yes.
and, yeah, and Teams is not.
Teams is not, and that's the difference, is that it's group centric, and if any one of us can't get it, like, IT can still pull anything for us if we get a FOIA request.
But isn't Teams this, I don't understand why we're not using OneDrive.
OneDrive is like a personal hard drive. It's the difference between OneDrive and Teams is, like, OneDrive is the personal hard drive tied to you, whereas Teams,
No, but you had didn't you have a OneDrive
HRC folder?
I did, and then I learned more about why that's not the way to do it. This is what, yeah, it's confusing.
Todd, just tell us what you need us to do.
Yeah, no,
At this point, like
I guess my question is like, should we try to get, I could actually get IT here to like walk us through how to use Teams as a group to save our documents, is what I'm wondering, if that seems like a useful thing. I can ask about that.
if you need to voluntold us that we need to use Teams, then yes, then you should have us walk through.
Okay, yeah, because
Yeah.
I don't want to teach you and teach you wrong either,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I'm still learning it as well, and I have moments of panic and frustration with it as well, so.
So there's no way, I'm sorry,
You
so there's
can't.
no way to share a
You're not
document
able to use Teams at all.
in OneDrive.
My Dell does not.
There
But
is,
What you would have to do is, you would have to send it to me, and then I would have to individually share it into OneDrive myself.
sort of. We're gonna go down the rabbit hole in that one. We won't talk-
Okay.
What I'm thinking is maybe it would be helpful to ask one of our IT folks
Alright.
to explain a good way that we can use Teams collaboratively as a commission. Because I don't know that any of the other ones are doing it, but when I see us, the more work you guys are doing in a work session, to try to like collaborate on documents and so forth, I think it would be nice to have it easily findable, so you're not searching through your email, it's like, they attached to an email somewhere, that kind of a thing. So,
All right. Sounds stressful.
change, we're
Just
Teams is
lead,
ter-
lead with, you need us to do that versus,
I-
this is an option, it's not really an option.
It-
We need to move to Teams.
I think it's still optional. We've survived thus far, but I'm just trying to get a.
It'll make the workflows
I
easier.
think it might in the long run be easier as Teams hopefully improves its usability, because I understand that it is not always usable. I will look into getting IT here to maybe walk us through the best way for the commission to use Teams. Thanks.
Thank you.
It's not immediate.
Thank you, Todd.
We're
That's all the time.
we're
That's all.
preparing ourselves for a potential change.
I can tell.
We're gonna
Yes.
make it through.
Okay.
Yes, we will.
Sometimes it helps to think about unpleasant tasks if you have some extrinsic motivation or intrinsic motivation maybe for doing so. One of the reasons that we even considered using Teams is that it also has some project management apps built into it. And so we might be able to leverage that capability so that we can make better progress
True.
on some of our objectives. I say that as somebody who hates Teams, who was forced to use it at work. So I feel like I'm able to talk about that. Also, I also made after the last housing subcommittee meeting, I made a Teams page that's focused on housing, so it already exists.
Yes.
All right.
And that's it.
You could just rename it like OHR
OHR.
work
We can name it
session
anything.
thing, or
And I can pass off
HRC
management to
work
anybody who
session.
wants it. Anybody who wants it.
Working group. Great.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave that alone for now.
We don't have to talk about it anymore. At least for my part.
Okay. Did you have other updates, Todd?
That's it, I think, unless you have any questions. Won't be the bearer of any
Oh, yeah,
more
I do.
uncomfortable news.
Are there any FAP updates?
FAP updates? No, other than we met with Eric Steinecker and
Oh, that's right.
In February.
back in February, got some recommendations for other changes. My problem right now is that between onboarding new staff, writing the annual report, and dealing with ongoing cases, I'm gonna hold off on amending the ordinance yet again, and then trying to get on council's calendar until after our annual report. As much as I'd love to like continue progress, I also am sensitive to the fact that our city attorney's office is down to 2 attorneys, and entering the FAP has serious ramifications for the city attorney's office, so I do not want to burden them right now, because we want them to be ready to do the work with us, and yeah, that's not where we're at right now, I don't think, in the city attorney realm. So, good question, but yeah, that's where we're at.
Any other questions?
Oh, anything with, your report of notice or,
Oh, in the numbers or anything?
yeah, in your monthly report?
Oh, I don't know. Not in particular. I think it's kind of standard stuff. I didn't really highlight any numbers to talk about per se, but if you see anything that you have questions about, I think the numbers have maybe already changed a little bit because we've added some things and found some duplicate entries that I've deleted. So some will go down, some will go up, but we're always looking at our data. We review it every week, so yep.
Thank y'all for your hard work. That's some good wins this month thus far.
Yeah, we're moving. It feels like progress.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
Okay. I apologize, Todd. I was snappy at you, and I realized that, and so I apologize for my
When?
snappiness with you.
I didn't win.
Okay.
I missed it.
Okay, if you missed it, I just recognized it in myself and just wanted to apologize. I just
Hey, I brought up teams. I'm
Okay.
to blame.
Just like-
That's fighting words.
Fighting words out here. So sorry. I want to just say it to everyone. I was very I could have done that better, and I apologize. Just
I gotta say, the IT discussion really did make me feel like I was in my day job, where
Yes.
what we talk about is how much Teams sucks versus something else, like, yeah.
I'm waiting for the day when somebody says, "Man, I love teams."
I actually don't mind Teams, but.
Wow.
No, I know people.
I thought I liked you.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, we'll leave that alone for. Thank you.
So are we able to move to the committee updates? I'm really going to pass it over to Catherine. I just wanted to say thank you. She stepped up to be our chair of that, and she's also going to share.
She's looking very confused.
Okay.
That was my face when I found out last year.
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
See, I had remembered you had did that because I was like, I just stepped in as chair, and I was like, no, I don't want to be chair of this too.
I thought I was chair of the moment. but okay.
Ad hoc
Okay,
chair.
well, ad
You
hoc.
still have your moment.
No, I didn't Mary? I clearly asked her, not just for the moment. See? Let's get the.
I thought you agreed to do it forever.
I know. Me too. We can revisit. But no, we made a lot of great progress. So Catherine, I'll turn it over to you because you were also going to go over the Martha rules and procedures discussion for what we talked about. So this section, I'm handing over to you. Happy to support you in that.
Okay, so, Martha's Rules. We adopted Martha's Rules, and I just want to give, the background. The reason Martha's Rules exist, even, is the same reason that we adopted them, which is that Robert's Rules are so arcane and convoluted that they can really be used to stop the work of a group. And we were spending so much time debating the finer points of Robert's Rules and not actually getting stuff done. So, Martha's Rules are intended to make sure everyone has a voice, to work efficiently, and to just be very focused on getting the work done. Now, having said that, there are actually a number of kind of iterations of Martha's Rules. There's a number of articles about Martha's Rules, but there isn't a well-developed body of, jurisprudence that we can get bogged down in. It really only discusses how we make decisions, how we bring up issues to act on, and how we decide how to act on them, right? So one consistent part of Martha's Rules that's here in ours is that proposals that we are going to act on should be in writing, that we should present them in writing. That when that proposal is brought up to a meeting, people can then bring up friendly amendments, preferably in advance, but on the moment if needed. And then the way the discussion proceeds is those who are in favor of the proposal present their views. And the facilitator, which is our chair in this case, really sets a time, keeps people to their time. At this point, there is no debate. People simply present why they think this is a good idea. Likewise, we then have time for those in opposition. Again, not a time for debate. They present their ideas. We have time limits. They get enforced. At that point, once we have both sides heard, we can then have discussion however that happens. So
small group discussion, general discussion, however we want to do it as a group. The chair helps lead that, sets time limits again. At the end of that discussion, we can make a motion to table this. We can make a motion to refer it to, whatever it needs to be referred to. That requires kind of a 3/4 vote of those in attendance in this iteration of Martha's Rules. Okay. Once we have, if we're moving forward, not tabling anything, we take a straw poll, right? So this is this thing where we do thumbs up, thumbs down, or kind of sideways, I can live with it. The point of that is not the hand gestures. The point of that is just to get a sense of the meeting. Where are we? If everyone's in favor, we don't need to talk about it anymore. We can just move, like, we're done. Same if everyone's opposed. If there isn't clear consensus, then, then we've got to keep working on it and can have an actual vote. We have a moment where we can ask clarifying questions. Remember, we've already had our discussion. We've already had debate of some, we're done with that. We're going to ask clarifying questions, and then we're going to have a vote. That's it. That's all there is to this. All of the rest of how the meeting runs is not covered in Martha's Rules. Right? Many of the sort of articles, I say articles, there's some are actually published articles, some are just sort of online discussions, kind of emphasize the need for time limits on agendas. That's a big thing in Martha's Rules, although we don't have it in here clearly. But other than that, that's it. So we haven't really been doing this. It seems very efficient to me. We have adopted these rules. So we thought it would be useful to just sort of put it out there and try to use them and see how it goes.
That was really helpful as an explanation.
Yes, my question is, for a proposal to pass, it has to have it has to be in favor or can live with it to pass, is that correct? Or is that correct? If
Yeah.
there's still opposition at all, what needs to happen?
No, it's a majority vote. When we do that second vote, it's a majority vote. It's a standard vote.
Okay.
Right? If you go online, they actually have all these tables, like how many I can live with it plus
Right, that's
equal, but that second vote, when we're actually like moving to vote, that is a majority vote. The rest of it is actually, I mean, they have suggestions, right? But it's not, there's nothing absolute about how many of what you need to decide that we should just move forward or continue talking.
And with time limits, that's something we discuss every time we have something up for vote?
Well, I don't think we discuss it really. I think the chair sets time limits. Right? Like, we're gonna have 10 minutes to talk about this. Go.
Oh, that's what it means, like not per person talking, but just like.
I mean, it can be per person talking, it can be, it's just.
Well, it says time limit on discussion set by the group.
The third step.
We do not need to have a discussion, like, we don't have to have a consensus meeting about the time limits, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And there's enough looseness in here, it could be a per person, it could be a general. I think the point is not to belabor,
I got you.
right? A lot of the discussion of Martha's Rules has things like, don't repeat things that have already been said, you know.
So how would this change, so we need to get your votes on the committee and the, our retreat minute. Can we do that now so we don't forget?
So something like that, I don't think we need to do this for.
Okay.
Right? We would just vote.
But we do want your vote.
Oh, yeah, I'm in favor.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? Like,
For both?
we don't need a straw poll on whether
Okay.
we're gonna vote.
But it's
for the
more
agenda.
something that we're discussing. So like, for example, with the retreat, when we were saying, hypothetically speaking, because we didn't do that at the retreat, we just kind of had a discussion. But if we were voting to say like, oh, these were the top 4 things we're talking about, then we would have like a vote of opposing sides with
that?
Yes, and we would hopefully have a written proposal.
Gotcha.
This
Yeah,
is what we're
I gotcha.
doing, this is why we're doing it,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
That was very helpful, Catherine. So Todd, this was in the committee, ad hoc committee meeting for us to discuss. I think we saw that it just, I thought there was like two things we were saying we were gonna change about. Oh, it wasn't the Martha's Rules, it was the, you okay? Just heard something fall. Was the full rule, rules and procedures. I can't remember now what it was we were gonna change. There was
Could look back,
something.
yeah, it's in the
Jeanette's
minutes.
suggestion?
If you scroll up to the
Oh,
minutes
sorry.
from the committee,
My brain just farted. I'm like, I don't know what it was.
Is it the thing where the changes are highlighted in the procedures document, or is that?
Yeah, it was in the procedures document. Yeah, it says, and we proposed the changes. Okay, so what were the changes that we said? Oh, it was the annual meeting. It says the rules and procedures currently say that the officers' election and work plan will occur during the first regular meeting in January, but the commission doesn't decide upon that work meeting until in March for the retreat. So it just talks about the first regular meeting, which we noted as like our annual meeting. It's just not how we've been doing it, and so we didn't know if we needed to change it in our.
I like that. I think that was a good observation that I hadn't caught before, because now the way that council is doing boards and commissions appointments, they sort of like kind of lined it up now. So they're always going to be doing it for us in our terms. I think you'll always be transitioning to new commissioners on March 1st. So it does make sense that, and I think we decided to hold the retreat once we
Yes.
have our new folks on board. So, I should basically look in there and change the language.
So is that just a calendar change in the
Yeah.
rules? Okay.
It's
So
just-
it's
What-
not changing anything process-wise, it's just the
No,
calendar?
no, no, no.
Just kind of acknowledging
It's just
that.
acknowledging, yeah, it's just acknowledging that we don't set the retreat, well, they call it the regular meeting, but we don't,
Mhm.
I don't know if that regular meetings means like the cadence that we meet like every third Thursday, but if it was referring to the annual retreat, then we should have it changed to, that we do that in March. That the March meeting is when we just schedule the annual retreat. Yeah, so it's not a procedure change, it's more of a,
It's calendar.
calendar that reflects what we actually do.
So
I almost wonder,
And then
go ahead.
the second thing, I think, was in the same vein that the commissioner suggested the bit about deciding upon a work plan instead of saying the commission will decide its schedule for the resuming year. That also like happens, like, doesn't happen in that first meeting per se, it happens at the retreat.
So I have two thoughts. And
Sure.
I think that we could just simply change annual meeting instead of it saying January. We just change that word to March, and then you postpone elections until March after everybody's on board. You could do that. I just added like 3 more months to both of your terms. Without your- But it kind of makes sense, right? Because that gives the new people a chance to be either nominated and/or to vote. So, yeah. Just a thought. That's one simple way to change that. Otherwise, we could break it up into two things and we have a meeting in which we hold elections and a meeting in which we develop a work plan. And we could change that too. It's up to you all, really.
We didn't discuss that, Todd. You added more stuff in here that we didn't discuss. Do people
Yeah.
have thoughts about that?
Because I wasn't clear like how you wanted to change the verbiage there, and that's why I'm asking, yeah. And if you want to send me some language, I'm happy to. I guess the question is, do you have language that you are proposing for this, that you want to present to everybody for a vote tonight, or is that something you're still working on?
That's what I just said. I don't know. I can provide you language, Todd. Sure.
Am I asking, I don't,
Oh, no. Like,
'Cause I-
it's literally just changing, like, instead of January to March, but only specifically to set the retreat meeting.
yeah. So we would add another piece in there that just says,
Oh, I'm trying to find it also, sorry, so like, I'm
Oh, yeah,
feeling,
yeah. Here,
like,
let
I
me
don't
find,
have
how
it in
about I
front of
find
me to
it?
tell you specifically the,
I'll
mhm.
find it.
sentence, but it was just those two things of the, when we're discussing the annual treat, and I'm open to what people are saying about the, electing of the chairs. It makes sense. I mean, it fundamentally makes sense to have everyone that's there on it. Oh, you have it?
It's searching.
Okay.
Let's find it.
It-
Not that.
So it sounds like maybe you can just make the change
I think it's.
in the document and then
This?
you can vote for it
Rules and
at the next meeting or
Yeah.
something like that.
But in the actual procedure, I think it was in our,
Oh. then
yeah,
I do not have it.
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me either. Yeah, so is it easier, Todd, you were saying just to send it to you?
Yeah, however you want, if you want, if you trust that I'll get it right, you can vote on it and decide to adopt it, or if you want to actually type up what you exactly want it to say, and then we can present it for a vote later, that's fine too, whatever
There's
works
no
for you.
urgency, we can write it up and have it for the next meeting, right?
Yep.
Okay, okay. Dang it, I was hoping we'd get it done in this meeting. It's okay. But is everyone agree? Oh, we'll have to vote for it, I guess, next meeting, but
And have
does
it
the
written
direction.
down. Not written
down.
And have it written down for a vote.
We'll do the Marcus rules.
can live with
We
it.
actually follow
Okay.
Marcus rules in that regard, so, yeah.
Okay,
Good catch, though. I think that's a really good point to make sure that that reflects our current process.
okay. I'll find it.
I will say I like the change in moving it to do it in a retreat. My concern is, we were talking about doing voting stuff with new folk, and that is a concern that, them not being here, unless they've been following us online or what have you,
Mm-hmm.
them
Here it
having an
goes.
ability to vote may be, an issue.
Cause
Just
it,
in my thinking, but I
'cause
like,
it staggers, right, Todd?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's rare, it's rare, like everyone here would be replaced at the same time.
That won't happen anymore, because we
Okay.
restaggered all
So,
the
I
terms.
have the same thoughts as
It's a good point.
Ernest, because I know, well, I can't speak to Suzanne, she's not here, but,
Yep.
I think there is a bit of onboarding that comes on
Yes.
with
Yep.
just like learning how we are flowing and we work and,
Mhm.
I vote to keep it the way it is. I mean, I'm not voting, I'm saying I feel strongly to leave it the way that it
Yeah.
is, but I also see the other point of view. Do you have thoughts?
I would support that, just mostly because if we elect a different chair, then wouldn't that chair have to like lead the retreat, which would be like mad funky.
Oh, yeah.
That would be
So
weird.
I agree, the onboarding occurs both for new members, but then also for potential leadership.
Good.
So I'd say keep it as is.
So maybe we'll just add like just another bullet in here and change the, the numbering a little bit and add like annual meeting for elections and then strategic planning meeting. And you just separate the two out and then you're done, right? That makes sense to me. And then you keep the annual meeting January for the elections and the strategic planning retreat, whatever you call it, you
Yeah.
can choose your verbiage. And just add it as a separate bullet and keep it in March, makes sense to me. And you can even specify to align with the appointment of new commissioners, the annual schedule of appointments. Andy, you had
I was gonna say, you thinking real hard there, Mr. Orr.
So I guess it seems to me that the election should happen after the new members are in and the members that are leaving are out already, because it's like it's the new people that are gonna be with that new commissioner, not the people whose terms are ending. So it seems like the election should reflect a new membership.
So are you asking that we should change?
So I think it should be both in March.
Or we change the election to happen further down the road?
No, I think,
So, so are we onboarding,
or, yeah, maybe it doesn't
so
fit further.
onboarding in February? Because we really don't get new commissioners until,
We saying it now won't be till March anyways, right? Is that what I heard you say, Todd?
Yeah, so commissioners officially start in March. I typically do onboarding with new commissioners the month before.
okay,
Yeah, as soon as I know, I start to make contact with them, and then
Okay.
we schedule a time to go
Okay.
over the basics. But, yeah,
But it seems like the election should happen with the new members, because they're gonna be the ones with that new chair.
So if that were the case, of course, the retreat could also be moved, right? So that you don't have the issue of a new chair's elected and then has to run a retreat that they,
true.
right? So,
Sure.
I mean, you know, at least it's theoretically possible.
Mhm.
We could do the retreat in April instead of March.
But,
Well, it might make sense to have the retreat first, and then the next would be the election.
Oh, okay. I'm
Because
think
you
I
have to prepare for the
misunderstood.
retreat, you know,
Okay,
the months leading
got
up
it.
to it.
okay.
And so it's sort of both accumulative and going ahead.
Anthony.
so Andy, to clarify, at your annual retreat meeting, you'd hold the
Adrian.
retreat with the existing chair, and
Right.
at the end, you'd elect the chair going forward for the year.
Or the next,
Yeah.
you know, or the April meeting, you elect the new chair. I don't know. But then that's also, that's 4 months now out that we're shifting it. But it seems like, in my mind, the chair election should reflect the membership going forward.
I don't disagree with that, but it seems to me that that the new chair or the continued chair, should get to lead the retreat
Mhm.
and get to, shape that agenda. So if we have it, I mean, if we have it and the old chair wants to do X,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then we elect somebody else and they, I don't know, it feels like a weird order to me.
Okay.
And I'm thinking as well that the new chair should hopefully come out of existing commissioners. That hopefully, I mean, if there's someone out there that comes in, becomes, and all of a sudden, everybody says, hey, we want to pass it on, you need to, I would be a little concerned if they haven't been here. And been a part of the, unless there's someone that's been online, that's been following us, and so that's my concern, is someone coming in that's new, that has not been a part of the commissioners, commission at all, so.
I vote for Molly for chair.
True. She's got a lot of work to do right now, and I want her to keep doing that work that she's doing right now. But that's just my concern with a new person coming in and us doing it that way. So.
I don't know where this leaves us, I'm confused.
Yeah.
Are we at where
We
we
did not
So-
follow Martha's rules.
No,
We did not.
Time limit.
But we're not voting on anything right now. We're talking about what we're going to present at the next thing, right?
Right, but the shape of the debate is
It's part of the whole structure of
part
Martha's
of the
rules.
spirit, if not. I mean,
Got
there are
it.
no real rules, that's the whole point, right? I'm not trying to stop the discussion, I'm just saying.
So Todd, okay, I want to reflect what I hear everyone saying. There's a discussion, call it a debate, just of when to have the election for the chair and when to have the retreat. I think it's a lot to put on the new chair, a brand new chair in a month's time to put on a retreat. I think I'm skilled at putting on retreats, but even that, I would like a lot more context, and we're fortunate that this one came out because of the experience that we had in the last year. So I don't know if this is something we need to put in writing and discuss. But so Todd, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I think that is what we're doing here is kind of a good demonstration of the efficacy of Martha's rules, in the sense that when you come to a meeting with a clear verbiage, then it can be talked about, and then you can amend it, and then decide. So, yeah, I think that would be great, like, if you, I think you're all making great points, and then just having something that we can actually vote on sounds really good, or you can vote on.
Let Claire show you.
Oh, yeah.
So Todd, I found the verbiage in the rules and procedures. So
Mhm.
part of this is just confusion in the first sentence. It says meeting is number 3, meeting, 3.1. It says, the commission shall hold an annual organizational meeting which shall take place during the first regular meeting of the
Mhm.
commission in the month of January. And so that annual meeting is referring to the retreat? Is that true?
I don't think there's really any, yeah, we've kind of separated the two things, because it says there's an annual meeting where there's, where there's an election of officers and an establishment of work plan. We've separated the two things out.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm at, yeah, so that's
Yeah.
where I was trying to get to. Do I need to separate this so so there's more points? Because even in this second sentence, it's still referring to the regular meeting where we establish schedule.
From what I'm hearing, that's kind of the proposal, is that you could call the election meeting the annual meeting, and then you could make a new 3.2, and it would add, like, a few more bullets or whatever, but say, like, here's our, whatever you want to call it, your strategic planning, your retreat, annual retreat, whatever you want to call it, to happen in March. And you just cut that piece out and make a separate one. And that makes it really clear that you hold elections in one, and then 2 months later, you have your planning meeting where you decide your work plan for the year. Is that what I'm hearing you want? Feels like the right thing to do?
Sure.
And so how you
No,
amend
I'm
it?
just asking, like, it's just confusing in language, like, so we're saying annual meeting, I'm asking what it was originally intended. I'm interpreting that as retreat, but is that not what that initially was intended?
Is the retreat in here at all?
No, it's not.
It's, they just have annual meetings. So, I mean, you can change what you call it. I think just,
So where do we call, I'm trying to ask also, like, for verbiage, like, what do we call that first meeting in January?
yeah,
Just a regular meeting? Election meeting?
yeah, whatever you want to call it.
I'm voting to say election meeting, okay,
Okay.
all right, okay. Okay,
That seems like a good, because that's really specific, and it tells you why you're separating that out and calling it something special, right? That makes sense.
so is it best for me just to send this verbiage to everyone? Or now, because we're having a discussion of the election, when of the election of chair, then we do have to, does this now have to go up for vote, and then that has,
Here's what I'd
what do
suggest.
you want me to do?
Jessica, I'm gonna make it
This is
easy.
way too
So,
much.
do you have a Word version of this with
Yes,
like
I
all
have
the
it right in
red
front of me.
strike through and all that
Yes.
stuff? Why don't you just take that and put your verbiage in the same fashion? Strike out the old stuff with the red line, and then add the new stuff in whatever color we were doing, blue or something. Blue underline. That would be, because that's kind of the tradition. That's the fashion that they make us do stuff for amendments to council stuff. So that's a good way to do it. We'll stick with their format. If you do that, then you can just vote on the whole document next time. That makes sense?
Sure,
Just to simplify your process?
yes, okay.
Let me know if I'm being confusing. I don't know.
It's more, my brain is stuck on like what actually to say.
Yeah, it's hard to
And
work that out now.
I will just say what I think needs to be said. I think it's also just my own confusion of like, in this same one paragraph, it's like organizational meeting, the regular meeting, we establish a set meeting time,
Mhm.
but isn't that set meeting time always just set? It never,
It-
it's
may-
the third Thursday of every month.
Yep, yep. But maybe and that could change. You could change
Okay.
that, but that leaves that open. What I would say, Jessica, is if you want to workshop it, I'm happy to workshop the words with you, like outside the meeting, if that's helpful. So it's always hard to wordsmith in a meeting. That never goes well, right? It's very difficult to do. So happy to work with you on that if you'd like.
Okay.
Just let me
Okay.
know.
So, am I yay, nay to adding in the changes for, when we should do the election? That's where I'm confused also.
Is say somebody comes up with a proposal that we then have as a written proposal to discuss.
But as
I
of
was
right
gonna
now, we're gonna
say-
keep it as is.
But right now, we're not changing anything.
Right now, we're
Okay.
not doing anything.
That's all I need to hear.
So,
We don't have anything like on the
Understood.
table.
Clear, that's
Cool.
fine. Okay, gotcha. Makes sense to me. Okay, I'm clear. Sorry.
No,
My
it's-
literal is like, what do you want me literally to change?
Yeah,
Because I don't
It's
want
up
it
to
to be
you.
an iteration back and,
Yeah.
you know,
Sure.
I want to limit the back and forth
yeah.
iteration. Okay, so the changes that I will make will just reflect that I'll split out, like right now it has annual meeting, I'll just split it to election, retreat meeting, and then regular meeting.
Sounds good.
So it'll just be one extra bullet. Okay, sounds good. There was more to say about the ad hoc committee meeting. Any more questions about the Martha rules on this? We do want to give you a recap of that meeting, or kind of what, the plan that we're gonna move forward with?
and then we're gonna talk about the liaison. Is
Yes,
that,
yes,
is that up now, or?
yes, please.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
in that
you're right.
meeting, and you should have received a proposal for discussion purposes. Having commissioners serve as liaisons to local organizations, I guess, groups, whatever we want to call them, that are dealing with housing. And so all of this is very tentative, let me be clear, because I was writing what I believe the intent was, but maybe this is wrong. So we'll talk about all of it. But the purpose of these liaisons, as I understood it, was to listen to concerns raised in these meetings and report back to the commission, to identify things that we should act on, and also just to develop relationships with key stakeholders, to be a stable presence so that they know the Human Rights Commission exists, the Human Rights Office exists, those kinds of things. And then I was asked to pull together a list of groups, and so I pulled together a list of groups. I think we have some things to talk about here. One that's not on the list that maybe should be, we can think about, is BRAC. Might make sense. The big question in my mind was the neighborhood associations. I saw, Wolfgang, that you added Fry Springs. So, how can I say this?
Yeah.
Believe, so there
Yeah.
are neighborhood commissions that are thinking more about housing than others. And like the Fifeville Neighborhood Association, that is a neighborhood that has been adversely impacted by all of the policies of white supremacy and that have created problems in Charlottesville that we are now trying to remedy. And they are kind of actively addressing that. They have an anti-displacement working group, right? So where other neighborhood associations are either not thinking about housing in the same way, have not historically been impacted in the same way. And I kind of feel like maybe there's not a place for us to be a liaison to those neighborhood associations. But I don't know. I don't know what people think about that. So. I don't know what people think about DSA. They're on the ground doing the work. So I don't even know if they would welcome a human rights commissioner at the meetings or not. We can talk about it, but it does seem like a place where we would hear a lot about what's going on. There is, and I have asked, I don't have an answer yet, if there's a meeting. There is the Virginia Eviction VERP, which is a terrible acronym, isn't it? Virginia Eviction something program.
Reduction.
Yep. Thank you.
You got it?
Do you know if there's an open public meeting that people can attend? I know they
There-
have had one.
Maybe they do. I'm on the advisory group for
Right.
that, so I get periodic updates, but not. I'm not aware of like a public, like
Okay.
regular discussion.
Okay, so,
yeah.
So, yeah, so so we have, and I think the pros of this is it would be good for us to know more about what's going on locally. It would make us know earlier and be able to act more swiftly on issues that need action, and would increase our collective knowledge. The only thing against it I could think was time, workload. So, Jessica, I think you're actually running this meeting, so would you like to give us, who would like to speak in favor of the proposal kind of thing?
Well, I wanted to add, and because I was in the meeting, so I have, I have my own thoughts. I mean, I would agree you captured it, all that we said. Just wanted to add a little bit more context. One of the things we had discussed about in the retreat, and then we talked about in our committee meeting, Lindell had to leave. She's not feeling well. So just clear, she's okay, but just had to leave. That we wanted to advocate and not just uplift the voices and just verbiage, like this is what they're saying, but being, what's the best way to really hear who's on their ground and what's needed, then we hope that as we're attending these meetings, we're coming back, we're discussing it, and if there's actionable items, then we can say, we are supporting this, we want to raise concern to city council, and then move that forward. I just wanted to add, like, that was the intention of this, the way to find a better way to most effectively uplift those voices and really understand the issues, because it's like, essentially, we're going to the subject matter experts on this, and we realize that we're not the subject matter experts, but we do realize that housing is a human right issue, and so we're wanting to just uplift and support the work that's currently happening in our community. So I just wanted to add that, but I want to leave open for room. So the suggestion was that then we would use the ad hoc committee or working group meetings, that we would be strategic about planning. Like if I were to be going, for example, assigned to Livable Seaville, then I'd be like that representative, and if there was a meeting, I'd come to our working group and then report out to that working group, and then we can discuss then, as everyone else is reporting out into the group, what should be our next steps, is what our logic there was. So open it up for discussion of what people's thoughts. So we were just trying to move what we did into an actionable item.
Yeah, so I guess the action here is, do we want to have these liaisons? And then the
Yes.
second order is, with which organization should we liaise?
Focus, yeah.
Thoughts? I would love to be a liaison, and I think that we should do it.
Okay.
If that's what we're voting on. It's like, yes.
I don't know as much as being a liaison, but as much as attending and going to the meetings to gather information, to know what's going on, and to make ourselves more familiarized with the processes and the hindrances, and also being able to support some of the initiatives that are going on as far as around affordable housing. So just having more information for us not to be, because I know I'm not an expert, so I need to get more information to find out and what can be done right now, and how do we support what can be done right now.
And one reason why we were saying liaison is so that if it's essentially just being a representative from our Human Rights Commission that's consistent. I know in building community relationship, it's really important in having a single point of contact that's just a consistent person. And so if I were the point of contact or liaison, the verbiage, if people are not comfortable with that, we can change it, but just that it's the same kind of person that's going on a regular basis, so that we're developing a relationship with that community. So that was a liaison part of it. But it sounds like you agree. You just don't like the liaison title. Any other thoughts? So do we want to discuss the ones that we want to focus on? We only are so many people, and there's only so much we can do.
Just quickly Googling when meetings are, because that kind of
That I
depends
would-
on, yeah.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, Click is really good, but
It
I'm
looks
pretty
like,
sure I remember that I can't go to their meetings because of the time, but.
Charlottesville DSAs is happening right now.
I mean, I think
Um,
this would have to be a multi-stage process, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
agree that we're gonna do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can talk some more about the
In the
list.
committee.
We can find out when meetings are and
Okay.
move on.
So maybe that's what we can discuss in our next, what do we have to call it, a working meeting now instead of an ad hoc committee meeting now?
We can call it a work session.
Work
Yeah.
session, so
Yeah.
maybe that's something we can discuss in our work session?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can send, if you find something or see something, you can send it out to everyone. And then, you know, we can just kind of, hey, can anybody attend? For right now, until we get, and until we find out when meetings, if meetings are consistently on a certain day, a certain time of the month, that type of thing, then we can do a better job of, finding people that it fits in that schedule.
So,
No, go ahead.
How about we vote on what the, like, to confirm that we're gonna do the liaisons?
Yes.
And then talk about which groups we wanna find out more information on. Okay. Who's running?
I'm running it, sorry, I'm trying to find
Just trying
the,
to make sure I'm like.
no, I'm running, I just was trying to find the Martha rules, I was doing what I should be doing. Catherine, give me a minute, the pressure.
I don't wanna put a thumb up
All right.
unauthorized.
So we've discussed this, and now this is up for vote, so does Todd still do roll call or not? We just,
Well, we need to do that because we have
Are you doing the thing?
Virginia law situation.
okay, so Todd's still gonna do roll call, the options are in favor, can live with, or opposed
Well,
to.
hold on just a second, no, let me be clear. The point of the straw poll is to know if we need to do anything more, and we don't need to do a roll call for that. If we're actually voting, and it seems to me that essentially we could go ahead and vote, because,
Yeah.
right? But I'm just clarifying the Martha's rules thing.
Oh,
The first vote is not a binding vote. The first
straw
vote
poll.
is a sense of the meeting, like,
Oh.
how much time do we need to spend on this? Like, if you've come loaded for bear
Gotcha.
to argue your point, and everyone agrees with you, then we can just,
okay.
We agree,
Right?
we agree with you.
Oh, okay, so we don't need to vote? So we need to just,
I
To
say we could
simplify,
just
the
skip.
question is anyone opposed?
No.
Because if
Oh.
no one's opposed, then
That's
you
fine.
can skip step 7 and go to step 8 and take a roll call vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone opposed?
No.
Roll call vote. Here we go. All right.
let's go.
Sounds good. Jessica.
Do I say just approved, in favor, what am I
Yep.
saying?
Or, yep, we're doing the roll call vote, so yes, or whatever you want.
Approved.
Okay. Ernest?
Approve.
And Mary?
Yes.
Wolfgang?
In favor.
Whatever your affirmation of
That's what it
choice.
says in the
is
thing.
so
I'm trying
fun.
to do the
That's what I was
thing.
saying.
I'm
It
trying
says
to
that
learn.
in the thing.
Trying to do the thing.
Let's go. I like that one. Let's go is a good one. Andy?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Lindell is not here. Okay.
Bless us.
I think,
Did you do mine?
Yeah.
yeah?
All right, that's right. I wasn't very creative or funny or anything, but.
Okay,
they-
it's
they
pretty
got it.
quiet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've decided that you are going to move forward with the liaisons. That
We're
sounds,
gonna move forward with the liaisons. Now,
Yes.
do we wanna take time in this meeting to talk about this list? Yes or no?
No.
Or- No?
Sorry. I was strong about that.
Yeah, I think that it's the thing that, you know, once we know the meeting times and things, then the work session is a good place to sort that out.
you could instead perhaps delegate an action item to say who's going to create that list of proposed organizations and the meeting times so that you can present that at the work session, then you can assign roles if you'd like. That might be a way to go forward.
I'm happy to work on finding meeting times. And if people have other things they wanna email me,
I was gonna pass it over to the office if they could do that information. But if you're willing to do it.
what office? Who are you gonna, what
Todd
office?
will do it, yeah.
Oh, they have work to do. Most people have stuff to do.
Yes, ma'am, you go right ahead.
I know that the planning commission works for my schedule. I've been wanting to go for a long time, and if you don't mind, I'd like to attend the next one because it'll happen before our subcommittee.
It's a
So-
public meeting, attend it.
I'm gonna attend it with your authorization. Is that
Or
all
without
right?
it.
Great.
It's great.
I'm not declaring myself a liaison, but I'm just gonna go to that one, and we can take it from there. Great.
I
Just wanna get- just wanna
I
dig in.
often attend them, so.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't it sound like
No
you're
one's
trying to
authorized
make
me.
yourself an
Liaison. It does sound like that. It does sound like that.
Just to be clear.
Just to be
Yeah.
clear, I will abdicate if someone else is more called.
Okay.
Great. I'll put it on my calendar.
They're very boring.
They are so boring.
Oh, I love that stuff.
I love it. Why do you think I'm here? I love this stuff.
We're boring now? Just insult to
Sorry.
injury.
Oh,
We talked about teams.
Got us all worked up.
Planning on the calendar. There it is.
Okay. Okay. I am gonna brush up on Martha's rules, so, but it sounds like in the future, if we do have something, it'll be on the agenda item as something we need to discuss,
it would have to
And-
be.
not debate.
And I would say, if it's something that you would like to have considered for a vote, or, you know, if you have a proposal, let's call it a proposal that you'd like to have considered by the commission for a vote during a regular meeting, send it to me, let me know in advance so I can put it on the agenda and add it to the agenda packet, like send me your write-up, that'd be fine.
Okay. So usually you distinguish like to vote, with an asterisk, but for this, how will we distinguish? It will be just the same, it'll just say proposal vote, proposal of, asterisk.
Yeah, I mean, we could, I think Catherine's format was good, like, you know, if you have proposal at the top, the specific thing you're voting on, and then the background below, that's perfect. And then
no, I
I'll
mean
list it
on
on
the
the
agenda.
agenda, I can put asterisk. I don't think I understood that you were proposing this for a vote this time, so, yeah, but, yeah, we can
Oh,
add the
yeah, no, I'm just
asterisk.
asking, I thought asterisk always meant that was something we had to vote on. It meant action needed.
Yeah, action needed. I'm not sure where that came from, but yeah, I think
Okay.
that's typically like a vote, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but we don't have to do votes, Martha rules on minutes, right?
No, you don't need that,
Okay.
yeah,
Just on proposals.
think so.
I'm gonna get it, I promise you, I'm gonna get it together.
We're figuring it out as we go, we're figuring it out together, it's
We're
okay,
figuring it out
yeah.
together. All right, so I'll summarize at the end. So any more discussion about this? Okay. So are there any public comment?
There are none at this time.
Awesome.
We lost him at Teams.
They're like, I'm not coming to that anymore.
Log off.
Log off. End call. End for all. All right, any commissioner updates?
Sure, so as part of the meeting, the ad hoc meeting, I was asked to write up kind of a proposal based on what we sort of discussed about what we should focus on related to housing issues. So I did that, although I just reread it now and I would rewrite several lines.
Thank you for that.
But I drafted it as like a place to start, you know. I realize in reading it, some of it is a little like oblique, and I don't say what I really mean, which is that we should support the revision of the zoning code, and I just have some like other more generic language, but I'm not sure how we like, how people, like how to get like feedback and consensus. I don't know if we're just gonna take that up in the work meeting.
I was just gonna propose that
Okay,
we,
that sounds good.
this is great, we have it, and we will read it and come
Okay.
to the work meeting ready to work on this.
Sounds good, no problem.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Yes, and,
You
okay.
first.
Prior to the work meeting, would you mind circulating it as an editable document? Editable, you know what I mean?
It's
that way I
yours.
can
It's a
add my
Word doc-
comments.
It's a Word document.
It's a Word document.
Oh, okay, I'm just looking at the, cool, then it's
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
May I
Yeah,
say-
it is a
my
Word
comments.
document.
I would
I'm just
suggest
looking at the
this.
agenda
Oh.
version, which is just the
Oh,
fun
gotcha,
PDF.
gotcha.
But if I have it, then great.
Yeah.
So
Should we
I'm
put it-
going to come with comments.
We could put it in
advance.
Teams.
That's my plan.
Not yet.
That was
Fight
say,
words.
should we put it in?
Fight words, too soon.
You want
Too soon.
Not yet.
Not until you know how. Not until everybody's on the same page.
Point.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
this is the kind of thing that should be in a resolution, in the sense that you guys have agreed that this is your focus for the year, so it's like a whereas kind of thing. This is how it fits into telling the public what you're doing, through resolution. So this would be a good resolution thing, like you have resolved to pursue these things.
I wasn't asked to draft a resolution.
Yeah, she did not.
Yeah.
I was asked to draft bullet
Not do
points.
that.
Yes.
Thus I did.
We'll
We can-
resolutionify.
we
it.
can
make
We can
that.
resolutionify it.
Should have fired.
If you
Yeah.
need the format, let me know. Happily to send it.
Yes, Todd, we need the format. Please send it to us.
Okay. To whom should I send it? I'll just send it to everybody.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Into a resolution.
Then you can adopt it and we'll put it on the website.
Okay. That was the conclusion of my commissioner update, which wasn't really a commissioner update, but I don't know if there were other folks who had.
Thank you for that. Any other commissioner updates?
I would encourage people to go look at the webinar from this week from
Yes.
Livable Seville. I
Yes,
thought it
ma'am.
was excellent. And it is archived as they all are.
To use with Robert's rules, seconded. Sorry, that's also too soon? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Apologies, I did. It was really good.
Yeah, it was good.
I also, just if I can talk about that a little bit more, I also really appreciated how they used a lot of Arlington's experience, having done really what Charlottesville is proposing to do, and some of the fears that so many people who are anti-rezoning have stated doesn't really play out in Arlington's experience, and I think it would be really great to be able to demonstrate a lot of that in our discussions and our conversations with stakeholders in Charlottesville. I feel like we're trying to represent people who are often marginalized in the city, but if we are reaching out to communities that are pushing back on the rezoning, we have this evidence that it will not dramatically, suddenly change our city overnight in a way that they fear will happen.
Which is unfortunate from my
Yeah.
point of view, but
Right.
yes.
But there's evidence to back up,
Yeah.
like it probably won't happen. There's a great case study in Arlington for that.
Yeah. The other thing I thought was useful about it is I think there's often a lot of pushback when we talk about that missing middle.
Yeah.
That's market rate housing, that's not deeply affordable, right? And that they really talked about why that's important.
Mm-hmm.
And, Sunshine's points about how expensive land is and how if you can, this is a way to get more housing, that allows us to also pursue the separate strategy of having deeply affordable housing, right?
Yeah, and they work really well together.
And they work,
Yeah,
yes. that
they
we need-
decrease competition
Right.
for affordable and dense housing.
Yes,
Mm.
By
that
having-
discussion of rungs on a ladder, right?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you need all the rungs.
Yeah.
Any other commissioner updates?
No, I attended the Charlottesville Plans meeting, that's what I attended last Wednesday, which was very interesting, so I wanna give a shout out to Jenny, who was helping me out with their modules, and, this is the second, module they put out. Very interesting stuff about where, they're proposing putting housing in the city of Charlottesville, and the height and all that stuff, but also, I wanna give a shout out to Todd for the information he sent out from Click today. If you didn't see that email that he sent, that one pager was, very useful too, is, give us more information about what Charlottesville plans had up, and then kind of, what they put at the bottom was very useful as far as, seeing some of the pros and cons and stuff like that, so.
Anyone else? Thank you, Ernest. All right, so next steps. Let's see if my brain can remember all the next steps. I am going to make edits to the rules and procedure document to send out to everyone. And then we will be hosting our now working committee meeting on the first Thursday, whatever that date is in May, to move what Mary has put in summary of the housing priorities into resolution, and to discuss, as Catherine will prepare for us, the meeting times for the groups that we may be of interest to be liaison to. Did I capture it? That was all the action items. And then Todd will be sending us information out for the, in Victoria about the voiceovers, right? Okay. If all hearts and minds are clear, we're adjourning the meeting at 8:04 p.m. Eastern.
Thanks, Jessica.
Okay.
May the force be
Spearheads.
with you.
Yes,
And
may
also
the
with
force
you.
be-
May the force